I ain't gonna lie. I've been holding a lot of shit in lately. Man, I just had like a 3.5 hour cry.
What do I owe the pleasure? What do I owe the pleasure? The last time we been together, we wash your car for you. We wash your car. We wash your car with no shame in our hustle. When you goddamn getting into that wash, and you know that tip gonna be good like goddamn this cold.
The streets are buzzing, and the industry is caught completely off guard. 50 Cent has reportedly unleashed a series of explosive tapes that have placed Rick Ross under intense scrutiny. What began as a long-running rivalry has suddenly escalated into something far bigger than a typical rap feud. The recordings, allegedly tied to Ross and Sean Diddy Combs, have turned the entire conversation upside down. Fans, insiders, and critics alike are scrambling to understand the full story, while social media erupts with speculation and debate, and according to those discussing the material, the contents of the tapes could explain why tensions are reaching a boiling point. The way 50 Cent rolled this out feels calculated and deliberate, part strategy, part spectacle, and a masterclass in high-stakes hip-hop chess.
New York City, Mount Vernon, and Miami, all that is the same, bruh. Nobody wants to be near him. Nobody wants to touch what he touched, be where he at. You understand? It's crazy, bruh, how his fall from grace, which was never from grace. It's just like the devil just kicked him out of hell. Because he was never in nothing graceful and did anything graceful. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you say about, okay, he did the music, he had the bad boy legacy and everything like that, man. But, you know, a few albums, a few people, you know, made to be famous, but they not here to tell their story. Black Rob, Biggie, Craig Mack. They not here to tell their story, bro. And now you got everybody telling his story.
Yeah, and I know 50, he did a recent interview with US Weekly saying that the reason why rappers are quiet about, you know, Diddy's situation is because they've been to his parties and they don't know what got caught on tape.
Bro, those people who was caught at Diddy's party did not know.
The long-running tension between 50 Cent and Rick Ross may have started as a typical rap feud, but it quickly evolved into something far bigger. While Ross built his brand, expanded his business ventures, and stayed in the spotlight, 50 appeared to move quietly in the background, dropping cryptic hints like the now famous tick, tick, tick posts that suggested something was coming. Then, without warning or promotion, he released the first piece of material online, no build-up, just impact, instantly shifting the narrative and turning a decades-old rivalry into a full industry-wide spectacle that had everyone watching.
Hey, you just better pray to God that they don't recognize you. Those people who know that they did something, no, they're not going to speak out. They're not going to say nothing. What part of the game is that? They are not going to come forward and tell on themselves. Nah, not at all. Ice Cube, he said it himself, bro. He said that Diddy's been targeted because of what he said about those folks and those people. Now, the people who was on those tapes may feel like Diddy might be targeting them. Because if he's asked about who is this, who is that, and he's under oath with the federal government, he got to tell them. He's not going to plead the fifth.
Yeah, I know that got to be a terrible feeling, man. You know you did something wrong at Diddy party, and you hoping and praying that it's not caught on tape.
But they don't think they did nothing wrong. That's their lifestyle. That's their lifestyle, bruh. I ask guys all the time, if two men lay down, how many homos get up? What you mean?
The reaction reportedly hit the industry like a tidal wave, with executives scrambling, PR teams moving fast, and conversations shifting behind closed doors as the situation unfolded. Unlike a typical rap feud, there were no diss tracks or predictable back-and-forth posts, just a strategic move that caught many off guard and reinforced the idea that 50 Cent may have chosen the timing carefully. Reports suggest that Rick Ross initially didn't realize the scale of what was happening until the material began circulating widely, at which point the intensity reportedly increased. As speculation grows about whether more content could exist, the industry is left watching closely, wondering if this is only the beginning of a much larger unfolding story.
For me, of who these A-list celebrities are on these tapes that are being allegedly auctioned off online and through the networks. And it's put me in a little bit of a bind because I like to be fully transparent with the audience. I want to say things, but I also realize, from what I'm told, because again, I haven't seen them directly yet. I haven't, and I don't know if I want to. Reis, I want your advice on that too. But the problem I have is just like, typically I want to report these things, but I got to be careful legally, ethically, morally as to what we report on here, because as Ariel, the lawyer here, did admit, and I can attest based on the information I got from a separate reliable source, people in these videos don't know they're being videotaped. That's a big issue, Reis, right? Let's start out right there. If there are people on these tapes that don't know that they were being filmed, is that okay to talk about and to share?
I have a big problem with that, as do you, Andy, and you tend to be an ethical guy and you're taking the high ground here. Notwithstanding the fact that you may have some significant information and reliable information, but the reality is that, look, I mean, if people were recorded non-consensually and you're the one to identify them, I think that's a problem, right? And I think anytime anyone has content, right, this is not an email, this is not a text message, this is video. And there's specific statutes without using specific language I don't want to get into, but everybody knows what we're talking about here.
It's Diddy with this person, I'll say that. It's Diddy with this person. Actually, yes.
Yeah, and see, the problem is, again, like non-consensually recorded, you've got a victim here who may not want to be publicly identified. That's the problem. That's the problem. And they have a right to proceed if they want to, whether it's criminally or civilly, without being identified, because we know what's going to happen. As soon as they identify themselves, there's going to be a bunch of people that come out of the woodwork who are going to unequivocally harass them and claim that didn't happen, and they're making stuff up. And there's the victims that we want to protect here, and that's significant.
Well, it's interesting because here's why I wanted to have this conversation, because I know a lot of you are like, Andy, just say it. No, I'm not going to say them, but I wanted to have this conversation as to why we're not saying it and why I think others haven't yet said it, raised, because again, legally, ethically, morally, it's just not right. Now, there's an argument I've had with people who are like, well, they knew what they were doing with Diddy. Like these were consensual acts, like they knew, and he filmed other times, so I don't know what the big deal is. It's gonna come out is what I keep hearing from other reliable sources. It may come out, but it's not gonna.
Over the years, Rick
those
Ross has
moments,
stated
Ross.
that his direct business connections to certain industry figures were limited, which is why the recent wave of online leaks has sparked renewed debate and intense public attention. Reports suggest that material shared by 50 Cent has reignited conversations involving Ross and Sean Diddy Combs, quickly turning past speculation into trending discussion across social media. While the authenticity and full context of the circulating clips remain under scrutiny, their rapid spread has amplified curiosity, divided opinions, and shifted the focus from rivalry to broader questions about transparency and industry dynamics, proving once again how fast a single viral moment can reshape the narrative overnight.
If the government took 1,000 bottles of baby oil and somebody had things what appeared to be baby oil, and then you have to listen to the prosecutor. He said that they seized 1,000 bottles what allegedly to be baby oil. Allegedly to be baby oil. So that's telling people that it wasn't baby oil. And people think that that was baby oil, they out their mind. I don't believe it was baby oil. Yo, bro, when they went up in there, they knew what they was gonna find. They knew what was ever in that baby oil or that those bottles that appeared to be baby oil, they knew about that at first. You gotta realize 9 times out of 10, that individual that got caught at the airport, that was supposed to be their carrier, told them what they was doing and what they had. I wouldn't put it past that he told them everything. So when they went up in there, they knew they had to take whatever was out there, and that thing that appeared to be baby oil, they took that. They gotta test every last one of them. Let's see how much, let's see how many of those come back to be baby oil. Bro, listen to me. Costco don't sell that much baby oil. Where you know sell that much baby oil?
Yeah, I don't know any store that sell that much baby oil. I know Costco, they came out and said that they don't even sell baby oil.
My sentiments exactly.
But you personally, right, what do you believe was in the baby oil?
If you ever seen a massage parlor being raided and they walking out the people, do they take the massage oil with them when they go? No, they just walk out the people who are being arrested. A person getting arrested and the people being arrested in those brothel houses. Do they take out the stuff in the brothel houses? No, they don't. They take the individuals who are being arrested out the brothel houses. For them to take 1,000 bottles of baby oil, it's like that they did not leave one. They left people there, but they ain't leave not one bottle. Nobody needed no baby oil. So my whole thing about it is that there was something in that other than baby oil. That's why they took all the bottles. And 9 times out of 10, if I would give it a wild guess, it was, and like some of the people told me, it was probably that GHB.
What's that?
I think it's gamma hydrox. I looked it up, bro. Let me see if I can find it. I know this is just showing everything like that, but oh no. Let me. Yo, somebody tap dance or sing or do something, you know what I'm saying, while I'm doing this. Oh, here it go right here. It's gamma hydroxy butyric. What is it effect on the body? It's a euphoria, drowsiness, decreased anxiety, and memory impairment. It works on the nervous system and gives you this feeling of euphoria. So they take that and rub it on her and you forget who you are, what you're doing. It can also give you memory loss.
The industry reaction reportedly escalated quickly as the circulating material drew widespread attention, prompting executives and label representatives to evaluate potential fallout behind the scenes. As discussions intensified, commentary surrounding Rick Ross and ongoing public remarks from 50 Cent kept the situation trending, placing both artists at the center of a broader conversation that also included references to Sean Diddy Combs. At the same time, Ross has continued expanding his business ventures and partnerships, making reputation management especially important in today's fast-moving media landscape. With brand deals and corporate relationships often influenced by public perception, companies tend to act cautiously when controversy dominates headlines. As the narrative continues to evolve, the industry remains attentive, watching how verified information and official responses will ultimately shape the outcome.
Together is what this is. And again, that's a potentially outing of somebody as well. You know what I mean? There's so many things here that happen in releasing of this private consensual moment that while salaciously everybody wants to know, and people are messaging me all the time, Andy, who's waiting? And it's like, I'm not gonna say, because there seem to be way too many things that these people in the tapes, whether consensual, whether they, whatever, didn't agree to put out there. And I would think that's a legal issue too for anybody who puts these out first, no?
Yeah, you nailed it. You can't without the consent of the victim. That's the problem. Somebody thinks that somebody has no idea, right? You said, well, didn't they know they're being recorded? No. I mean, in these situations, the assumption is they did not know. And that's what we believe right now, is the victims did not know that they were being recorded. If the victim comes out and says, okay, yes, I knew I was recorded, and a statement is provided, that's a different story. But of course, you don't know that. So you, Andy, probably can't be the one to break that ice and be like, well, this is what I heard and this is what I know, and so I'm going to say it. And there's all kinds of hairy legal issues on that, right? With privacy and intrusion on seclusion is what we call it. It's a privacy violation. There could be defamation implications. There could be criminal implications. So you're doing the right thing by treading carefully. And I think more people should do this rather than get into speculation. Now, if you see the videos, even still, right? If somebody takes...
Not to interrupt, but that's the question. Like, am I allowed to see these videos? Like, if I were to ask this source, show me the videos, do I put myself in worse legal jeopardy?
That's another distinct legal issue, right? It's like you're watching something that someone didn't know they were being recorded of doing, right? And so it's dicey. It's dicey. Now, it would be different if you were an attorney and somebody's coming to you for purposes of defense or prosecution of a claim, a civil claim, or the filing, of some action to recover damages. That's a little different. But for purposes of, hey, look what I got, juicy gossip, and there are reporting outlets that I won't mention that will do stuff like this. I don't know that it's the smartest thing to do. I don't know that it's the careful thing to do. That's for sure. Or it's the ethical or moral thing to do.
Yeah, it is exactly. I'm not a lawyer, but maybe this source will show you, and then you can verify what we know. But here's the other problem. Even if we verify what we know, like as I watched what Ariel, the lawyer, got these tapes, and even again, I don't want to get into the details, any remote details that could help explain or allude to even more of theories that are out there, or debunk or confirm. But I will say, hearing what I heard, which again isn't confirmation, but hearing what I heard, it makes me dislike what Ariel's doing even more, because I think there are going to be people out there, if this information does get out in some way, that are going to deny that these people are victims, that they're going to try to say, oh no, they're just consensually and they were hiding this affair and yada, yada, yada. And I don't see it that way personally. I mean, and granted, I haven't seen or know, like this isn't somebody involved from what I've gathered in these tapes of them, doing it to others in a way, criminally, like we've heard in some of these suits. This is just, it almost feels like, again, if it's real, like blackmail material that Diddy keeps to sort of hold over these people's heads. And to me, that's awful to the people in it, whether they agreed or knew or whatever. It still just feels like that's no one's freaking business, and maybe they were doing it for reasons we don't know. Just because we saw it in the tape doesn't mean they were.
When notifications began spreading late at night, the response from Rick Ross reportedly came quickly and with strong intensity, as insiders described a rapid shift into defensive mode behind the scenes. His first public reaction appeared on Instagram in a lengthy video directed at 50 Cent, immediately amplifying attention and pushing the conversation further online. Viewers characterized the livestream as highly emotional, noting that each follow-up post kept the story trending rather than calming the situation. Sources say advisors and business associates urged a more controlled approach, concerned about potential long-term reputational impact in today's fast-moving digital landscape. As the exchange continued, what began as a rivalry evolved into a broader industry spectacle, keeping both artists under intense scrutiny and dominating the narrative.
I've heard at times broker, I've heard at times advocate for victim, and I don't want to judge what she's doing or not doing. I'd love to just have a conversation about it, because I personally don't get it, right? This is a very sensitive thing. Again, if this gets turned over to the feds and the feds bring claims and this is outed, that's a totally different story. But the feds do what they're going to do, like what we talked about months ago on your show, right? When this first went down, we knew when hard drives were seized and things happened that, look, they're going to build a case. They're going to build a case that they think they can prosecute. It's not for us to speculate what's there or what's not, but to say, you have tangible evidence of something on camera that you've seen and that it's being sold in order to protect someone.
To avoid being publicly named, which is what even the lawyers are now admitting. It all feels really dirty and shady, man.
The only person that makes sense that could buy this is the victim, right? If the victim says, I don't want this to come out. Yes, it was consensual, but I don't want it to come out. I didn't know I was being recorded. Give it to that person.
Right, I guess, but you're right, because then they can actually own it. Maybe there is a version of this, and that's what Ariel's trying to allude to. You'll own it, and no other network's going to be able to buy it or show it if you own it and haven't given permission. I guess, is that maybe part of what they're trying to do here, in that the celebrity who buys it can actually then control it just from a clearance standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, look, it still raises some legal concerns, right? Because let me say it this way. If this was a transaction, if this is a business transaction wherein the victim is then acquiring the exclusive rights to this tape or tapes, and that the person who recorded it is avowing that they will not use it, I don't know where that leaves P. Diddy and the feds, right? But they have an independent right to bring this stuff to light if it gets prosecuted. But my point is, if you're transferring legal rights of this consensual or non-consensually recorded tape to the victim, I think that's a better position to be in. But then the question is this person even in a position to be able to buy the tape, right? Are they a high-level celebrity? Like, who are they? We can assume that they're celebrities with millions and millions of dollars to expend on something like this.
As the situation developed, reports suggested that behind-the-scenes efforts were made to limit the spread of the circulating material, including alleged copyright complaints, though much of the content had already reached wide audiences online. At the same time, speculation grew across social platforms about how the recording surfaced, adding momentum to an already fast-moving conversation involving Rick Ross and 50 Cent. Discussions expanded rapidly, with increased moderation activity and heightened public debate drawing in industry observers, legal representatives, and business partners concerned about broader implications. As reactions multiplied, opinions divided, some viewing the moment as a major turning point, others warning about escalating tensions. Ultimately, what began as a headline in hip-hop evolved into a wider cultural discussion about digital influence, reputation, and how quickly narratives can shift in the online era.
They were about to shock the entire culture.
I gave him my card. My business card was savoir-faire, security management, and everywhere. You know what I mean? So 50 did a song about that. You know what I'm saying? And he put that in the song. And some years ago, about a year or so ago, not even a year or so ago, he said that when he dropped my name, he said, yo, I got the savoir-faire, I got that from Big Gene. He been trying to tell y'all about this puff shit years ago. But 50 was the type of dude that if you knew he was with you, he was with you. Even back then, he had your back whether you was security or whatever you did. If he was with you, he was with you. And that's what you gotta love about him. You know what I mean? You ain't gotta question his loyalty, you know what I'm saying, on some fight shit or if you in a situation. Cause he going out.
Well, I guess you were hanging around him or knew him, right before he got shot.
Well, what happened was that I had got some information. 50 came to my house. I tried to fit him on a vest, but I'm like, at the time I was like a 3X. And 50 was like a large, you know what I'm saying? So he couldn't really fit the vest, but I gave him a cover to try to tell him, because he had some pads, some vest pads. So I just told him what the situation was that I knew. And told him he had to watch himself because those cats was gonna come at him. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, yeah. And he was supposed to be going to Cancun. And I told him, if you come to Cancun, I got you, because I used to be down there doing security at Daddy-O's. You understand? And I had people down there that I knew that was from Puerto Rico, and they was working down there, so they should make sure when I hit the island, anything and everything I needed, I could get it right there on the island. You understand? They work directly with the syndicate. So 50 was supposed to come down there to do a show, and he didn't make it because they had shot him up. I don't know if he was coming in the first place, but he was supposed to, because he was paid half the money to come down there to perform How to Rob an Industry Cat.
And when was the next time you seen him after that?
The next time I seen 50 after that was at Jack the Rapper. He had blew up. He had blew up, man. He was like, you know, he was this dude and everything like that. And I was sitting in we was in Puerto Rico, and I was sitting by myself, just chilling, and he had his whole entourage with him. He came directly over to me. He like, yo, Gene. I was like, yo, what up, Fifth? I said, what up, 50? He said, what's up, man? He said, yo, put his hand out to me, and he grabbed my hand. He said, yo, they can't stop what God got planned. Went on about his business. And then he blew up crazy.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
How do you feel about 50 going so hard at Diddy with the documentaries, and you know, he man, what did he do to 50 that made him hate him so much, man? That's crazy.
Well, I think it's just, you know, you got to look at it like this. 50 was writing a lot of shit that made a lot of money for Diddy. And he knew back then in the day, he didn't know what he know now, but Diddy was robbing him. You understand? Mm-hmm. You know, bringing those kids in and say, yo, like, yo, here, write this verse for me, man, for this, stuff like that, and giving them $5,000, you understand? Or $10,000, and you making $100,000 or $200,000 or maybe $2 million off of it, or $1 million, whatever the case may be. See, people call that good business. That's not good business. That's taking a person's talent, using it for your own self-indulgence, and not giving him what it's worth. When you could have been teaching these kids, you could have been helping these kids, and maybe these kids would have been helping you at the point you are right now. So, if that's the case, he have every right. But 50 is doing this for the culture. You understand? If it's going to be told